children's education is a major topic of discussion all throughout the world, and you're trying to make a dent in that. So let's start a little bit about who you are, what you do, what is Learnistry.
So I am Shruti Jain. Okay, otherwise I've studied dentistry, but somehow always had this inclination towards teaching. And now I'm running this online program for children, which is called Learnistry. I'm sure you must have heard of chemistry and geometry and other trees, and this is Learnistry. There's a fun way of learning where we basically focus on giving lifetime values to children actually.
So doctor just because you saw it in your family and that seemed like the only option?
Nay, it cannot be just the only options. It takes it takes a lot of toll to actually reach there. So slowly I started getting calls from other parents that we want to put our child to. I started off with another batch and then one more batch on the other day, on one more day of the week and one more day of the week like that. I didn't realize I reached around 100 children, and after that, one day I just I just couldn't take more.
I don't remember ever studying GK in school. I genuinely I did ICSE until the 8th grade, and I don't remember even studying GK in school for one day.
There is GK in school, but it is not a subject where they have tests for. Got it? It's an additional subject. Got it? They don't have exams for it. So children don't have to learn it.
How do you keep them engaged on online learning?
Time just flies. We hardly have to keep them engaged. There's so many new things to show them.
Where are we in 5 years from now? Where is Learnistry?
5 years. Okay. So my mission currently is for 10,000 children in the next 3 years. And have not planned up to, about where I'm going to be after 5 years. But 3 years we want to reach. I want to reach out to at least 10,000 children.
Let's roll it back. Let's roll it to, where does Shruti come from? Where is the beginning of Shruti? And dentist, again, being a dentist is very interesting in India, right? So let's go from the beginning.
Otherwise, I'm born and brought up in Assam, a city called Guwahati. And I've done my medical over there. I got my degree of dentistry over there. And then I got married, and now I'm in Kolkata. After marriage, I couldn't pursue my dentistry for a while. And then started losing interest in it and gaining more interest in actually teaching children. I've always had this fondness for encyclopedia and newspaper and news articles. And that's how I actually ended up creating this program for children.
Why dentistry?
Back then, my dad's a doctor, okay? He's a gynecologist otherwise. So it was always in my back of my mind that I have to become a doctor. So follow his steps. So that's why, and being a woman, it was, dentistry was probably a better choice for women. It doesn't have too much of emergencies and you've got lesser of clinic time and stuff. So that's how I had a choice to choose between both MBBS and BDS. BDS is the course for dentistry. And then I opted for that. Was counseled by my parents actually.
So doctor just because you saw it in your family and that seemed like the only option?
Nay, it cannot be just the only options. It takes a lot of toll to actually reach there. But that was the vision then. So I've always seen my father working as a doctor and, the kind of respect they get. And he used to work for the social service also. So it always gave me a thrill. But then getting married and then having my own kids and being in a family where it wasn't, I didn't have the opportunity to actually step out of the house immediately. So I kind of took a break from it. And when the break became quite long, I kind of started losing interest in it. And then now it's no more required in life.
So it takes a lot of effort takes a lot of time, a lot of studies, a lot of understanding of the human body, understanding of the human mouth might be like I'm not that educated in the subject, so I do not know what it takes, but it takes a lot. After studying so much, you said I was unable to practice it for a long time. What was the reason for that?
Very soon after marriage, I conceived also, and after having kids around me, I actually couldn't step out of the house that much. Thought of taking a break from dentistry, and then eventually, the break became quite long, and I kind of lost interest in it also.
So Learnistry is your project? Is it your baby? Is it everything to do with you?
Yes, that's my brainchild, and probably equally, what do you call it? Equally precious to me like my kids.
So how did you dodge the societal pressure to actually become a founder? Because it's an equally jarring task and equally time committing task, yes.
No, actually, I kind of became a founder by chance. So it wasn't that I kind of planned to become a founder. So let me tell you, my kids were in the fifth and third standard. They were doing pretty good in school, but they would eventually, they would quite a lot of times land up asking questions about mama. I don't know who's the vice president of India, or maybe who's Elon Musk, or maybe is Paris a state or a city or a country. So they had questions like, which always made me feel that, even if they're doing good in school, they're so unaware of the happenings around the world. So from the very start, probably from the tender age of 5 to 6 year old, I had always been flipping through the encyclopedias with them, and I had subscribed for kids newspapers also, but they were not very much interested in reading newspapers. It wouldn't attract them. So it was during the lockdown of COVID that it I just thought one day that now this is not helping. The school studies are one part of it, but they're not getting that holistic growth. So they are hardly aware of things happening around the world, and they are almost 9 and 10 years of age. So I approached roughly around four. I still remember the names: Avni, Sia, Devanshi, Aram, Ridit. These five kids. They were the friends of my kids. So I spoke to their parents. I said, "See, these kids don't read newspapers, and they are hardly aware in the current affairs. Sadly, current affairs and general knowledge is not a key subject in the school curriculum also. So they're not at all briefed about things like those." So I told I'll make up presentations for them, and I'll try and keep them updated through Zoom. I'll do a once a week session with these kids and keep them updated on the current affairs. And by God's grace, I don't know, I'm so grateful to those parents who actually said okay to it. And they said, yes, why not? Our kids would actually join up with you, and you can teach them whatever you want. So those were the first 7 children, two of mine and five of their friends, that I started off with once a week, 1 hour session. I tried to make the best presentations I could, all the positive news, different inventions, different creations around the world, or, whatever developments happening around the world, but mostly the positive. So I made presentations of them. I tried to make the sessions engaging and entertaining because my own kids were involved in it. I really wanted them to enjoy and have a thrill during the classes and look forward to the class. So the test that I would take after every teaching was also in a quizzing, gamified way, okay, which was really fun. So the questions popping up on the screen, and they have to quickly click on the answer, or the picture. So it was in that format. So slowly, I started getting calls from other parents that we want to put our child to. I started off with another batch, and then one more batch on the other day, and on one more day of the week, and one more day of the week, like that. I didn't realize I reached around 100 children. And after that, one day I just I, I I I just couldn't take more. I mean, I was totally occupied during the second half of the day because the morning hours are the children in school in the morning hours. So I had the only limited hours, and I really wanted to reach out to more children. And I had a lot of 40, 50 queries on my hold. Then I started developing my team. I started hiring teachers. I started training them. And now we have a small number of around 250 plus children with us. So that's it.
In our last recording, the people we spoke to were also like, we used our friends as guinea pigs. So I like how that's repeated, that you're, instead of using your friends as guinea pigs, you're using your kids' friends as guinea pigs.
Okay. I think I was used as a guinea pig.
I think that it worked both ways for you. You and the kids both. And I think that's the brilliance of COVID, because they had nothing else to do.
Yes. Firstly, they had nothing else to do. Secondly, I got my Zoom, and I wasn't aware of Zoom before that. And it really gave me the thing that, because my kids, when just sitting with me, they wouldn't want to learn things. It becomes like, Mama, piche padi hui hai, karana hi hai unko. And when their friends were together, it became a fun session for them also. So, and because from the beginning, the idea was not to actually make money out of it or get more children. The idea was that 1 hour has to be the best for those kids. The most they can gain and the most they can enjoy also. So learning with fun was basically in the back of my mind. And I think that really worked for the classes, because when children started loving it, they started telling their friends, and that's how I started getting more and more kids. Until date, I have never marketed my class. And till date, all the queries that I have received is through a previous child is already doing, and then the mom recommends the other person. So it's all organic, and I feel really good. And I get calls from moms who say that even if they're traveling, the children don't want to miss the class. So during the summer break and winter break, when the children are, traveling abroad or maybe somewhere in India also, they would want to join from the mobile phone. So sometimes parents tell me also, for most of the classes, children say, Mama, ye class nahi karna hai. Please mat karao aaj. And thankfully, they always say that aapka class agar miss ho jata hai, then they start crying. That, oh no, Mama, why didn't you tell me? How can I miss that class? So that's the beauty. I mean, I think that's where I feel success is, where I don't know how huge the number is going to reach to, and I'm really not trying to jump for it, but I really want the children who are doing with me, they get into this habit of being aware of the world, learning new things every day, and enjoy learning. Basically, the process of learning has to be fun, not just mugging up and giving exams and just learning things for no reason.
So a few years ago, a bunch of these stand-up comedians had been given the task of going to a school and performing stand-up comedy for kids. And they were all perplexed, because most of their content is tailored towards adults and situations that we face in our everyday lives. And they were like, how are we supposed to capture kids' attention? And you realize how hard it is to capture a child's attention. So the fact that children are not liking missing your class, and the fact that parents are coming to you through other parents and things, that is I think the best testament that you can get is the best sort of verified stamp, or however you want to call it, is the best sort of review for you, because that means you're able to, number one, capture the kids' attention that much, and second, make them enjoy learning to the extent that that parents can see it and then they sort of move it on.
Right. And it really gives a immense pleasure, actually. It really feels good. And once in every 3 months, we actually host quiz contests. The classes pattern kept evolving with time. It's been just 3 years. But yes, from day one, it wasn't the same. But now the level of content we've been sending to the parents also, weekly, we send the parents, please ask these questions to your children whenever you're sitting in the car. Ask them about this picture, who's this person, or, which place is this, or which country is this. So we send the whole PDF so that they can just flip through their mobile, and just whenever they have a free time with their child in the car, they can just go through it. And once every 3 months, we host a quiz contest where we do a 100-question quiz with all the children of our different batches together. So like almost 100 children in one batch together, and they compete for the quiz, and they are so thrilled to win. And It really feels good. They're 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds, they're answering 100 questions of GK. Probably, if I ask other people around, probably people might not be able to answer.
I don't
She's
think
going to
Akhil and
refer
I
to
would
us.
combine.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't think
she was going
I
to
was
refer to
about to
us.
say. I think we're preempting that.
I
And we're
think
like,
in
I don't think
general,
we would be able to answer.
no,
Are
a
you
very
smarter than a
basic
As
fifth
question.
grader?
A very basic. So I won't say that I'm a GK guru, but of course, I only learn the content what I have to teach. So it's not that I know everything about the world. What I have to teach my children, I research on that. We study. I've got this team now who works really well on it, and we take out all the information which is good for them to learn, and that's how we teach. But a very basic question like who is the vice president of India? Actually, this question triggered taking these classes in me. My daughter came and asked, and Mama, I don't know who's the vice president of India. Um, they've heard of Modi ji, of course, as the prime minister, and somehow she didn't know who's the vice president of India right now. Like there are three main leaders of the country, and being in the fifth standard, not knowing who's the president or the vice president of the country you're living in. So then it actually sparked a thing in me that they need some more. They need some more, intake on things.
I actually don't know who the vice president of India is.
yeah, I don't think I could answer that question either.
You don't know. Probably president also, I doubt.
Oh, President, I'm aware.
Who's that?
President, I am aware. Draupadi Murmu. That I am aware.
Oh, okay. So that's not a big deal.
To be honest, I didn't know that either.
It's not a big deal. If you
It's
don't know,
okay.
it's
It's okay. Akhil,
huh,
Akhil,
huh,
you are exempt. You don't live in the country anymore.
huh. No, and of course, it is maybe it is not that important to know who's the president or the vice president, but somewhere I felt like that was the pretty very basic thing to know, and not too difficult to know also.
Exactly. So, I mean, I was going to go on to say that I remember as a kid, and even now, we still play this game with the family. There's the game called Trivial Pursuit, which, you end up answering questions to move ahead. And the questions are on, like, geography and science and culture and
Right.
history and
Yes.
a whole bunch.
But
And, like, so
but nowadays, no, there are Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, so many other deviations that children don't want to play such games.
I know my family and we still end up playing it once every couple of weeks. However, we are at the point where we've gotten, like, I don't think we've gotten the newest version of the game. So the version of the game that we have is like pre 2004. So my sister and I struggle with the entertainment section because all of them are like 1970s, 80s, 90s Bollywood and like that era of entertainment, and we have zero idea. So my mom is like, we all have our sections where she is very good at the science part. I am very good at the sports and the culture part. My mom's very good at the entertainment part. And like we all have our specific niche now. And I think like now we need an update on that game. Like we need to get it to more current terms. So yeah. But I think games like those are how I learned GK. I remember sitting as a kid, we used to just pick up the cards and like, go through level. There were 6 questions on a card and we used to try and answer every single question.
That's good. But no, I think, very few families must be doing this nowadays. And also, there's so much of deviations. Back then, there were not too many TV screens at home, not too many mobile gadgets and iPads and stuff. Now people are busy with their own things to view, and hardly this kind of interaction happens. So I remember learning all the capitals and flags and presidents back then in school time. Of course, not now, right? I'm sure you all must have also had that phase.
So I didn't have any GK in school. For me, it was all these games. I remember playing a lot of Atlas and all these games to learn different things. I had an uncle who every time we used to meet him, there was like, there used to be me, my sister, and my cousins. And he used to like keep quizzing us on capitals and countries and stuff. So I remember just learning GK through all these meets and I don't ever remember physically sitting down and ever like, taking a GK class, but it was name, place, animal thing and Atlas and all these various games, just playing with the family and always wanting to, one up your cousins or your parents or your uncles. So there was like that thrill to learn through that way. And I guess That's what you're doing by providing them gamified things that they can now do on the screen.
Yes, the screen gamified way that we actually make them into teams and make them compete, or just like name place animal thing that you would play physically, right? And they do it in a game pattern. So that keeps the thrill alive, and maybe they don't even realize that they are actually studying or learning. It's more of a fun time for them, but they're learning parallelly.
It sticks a lot more as well.
Of course. Yes, active learning. It's an active learning way. So the retention would be anytime more, much more better. So we don't in our classes we basically don't make any notes. They don't have to make notes. So we use colorful sketch pens. Suppose we're learning about Eiffel Tower today. We make a doodle of Eiffel Tower. We draw the map of France. We draw the flag of France. So there's a whole page of colorful doodles and words about Eiffel Tower. So eventually that picture, it's actually called mind mapping. And see, that's where my medical came in, helped me throughout my life. So as you must be knowing, for studying medical, you have to actually mug up a lot of things. And my dad has always taught me the mind mapping technique, where basically you make a page with those colorful words and you have a whole map of connections, how you're going to remember them, and not actually mug up the sentences. So, and that's what I try and practice with these children also. So they basically, if you flip through their books, they're mostly colorful pages with colorful drawings, and every company logo also we draw. Basically, they're learning about different companies and their founders and stuff. So that's how we do it.
I think home tutoring is nothing new. Home tutoring has been there forever, right? And even my mom was a home tutor at one point in her life. But scaling that up to 250 people is a full-on school that you're running now. It's amazing.
I
And
still feel I have not scaled up, but I'm glad you're saying that. But it's just on the baby stage yet. There is GK in school, but it is not a subject where they have tests for. Got it? It's an additional subject. Got it? They don't have exams for it. So children don't have to learn it. See, now children are also smart enough. They're not going to do extra studies unnecessarily. इसका एग्जाम ही नहीं होता क्यों पढ़ना? Got it? So, of course, the subject is there. CBSE, ICSE, they all have subject, but the emphasis is not there.
Okay, I don't remember ever studying GK in school. I genuinely I did ICSE until the 8th grade, and I don't remember even studying GK in school for one day. From what it's coming across, we had this subject called moral science, which used to be the last thing we did on a Friday.
Right.
Like 80% of the people had checked out already.
That's one of the most important subjects in life, right?
I mean, yeah, the concepts that you read about, like, once you're done with school and when you come across them at another phase in your life and you're like, shit, why did I not know this? And you realize that, wait, actually had the means of learning this, but unfortunately, I guess because, again, as you said, it was not tested on and you didn't get like officially graded on it, it wasn't given that importance that a physics or a maths or an English was.
Right. So somewhere I feel that three things which I really miss out in the school curriculum nowadays is the exams, or maybe a little more emphasized learning on moral science, which actually builds nurtures the values in a person, right? And right from the tender age. And second is, which I feel is current affairs in GK. And third, which I feel is, I think, yoga. Somewhere, being an Indian, people all over the world are doing it. But I feel Indian schools should have a yoga subject and a yoga exam also, where a more emphasized way of learning is done on it. I think lifelong learning, I mean, yoga without your physically fit body, it's going to be really difficult to retain life in a way that we want. And unfortunately, because of all the fast fooding and stuff nowadays, I think yoga is a big miss.
we actually had a yoga class as well in school. And we used to wait till Shavasana, and like end would be Shavasana. So we all would just be like, okay, we get to sleep for like 5 minutes. Let's wait till then. And the rest of the time, we would just like fake it. Everybody's breathing and we were like, hoo, and like everything is finished.
So they still have yoga classes at school nowadays also, but it's not emphasized. Once in a while it happens, sometimes it may not happen.
It's the part of the expendable classes, art, moral science, yoga, PE. Those were all the You know, you have a school, you have a school function. Okay, you know what? Let's do it when they have art period. You have this thing like that. You have I remember we had to do march past practice and stuff like that. Oh, you know what? Let's do it when you have PE period, rather than being able to play and you have to do like it was always these that used to get cut off for.
At our times, they used to call it free period.
Yes, exactly. That's what we called it as well. Yes.
So where all the important learnings of life used to happen.
Something there has to be with our whole obsession with academics. I think in India, we put academics and, especially science, physics, chemistry, maths, you know, academics and marks end up taking up such a big chunk of the attention that anything else is seen as mediocre or not as important.
Yes, of course, Indian academics is wonderful, and people from India have reached places like all the biggest countries in the world, biggest companies in the world have Indians ruling right now. So I wouldn't say that whether it be CEO of YouTube or maybe of Google or major companies, if you call out. So I don't say academics is not required, but somewhere I feel that a little more emphasis on these can also be played. Academics have their own value in life, of course.
Oh, 100%. I'm not saying, I'm also talking about the over focus. I definitely academics is the be all and end all for most people in their life. There's going to be that small percentage who are going to do things beyond academia, but you do need that basic foundation. But I feel somewhere we tend to just zone in on that, and then you're like, okay, whatever is left, you do the rest. But then the thing is, there is so much focus that there is barely anything left over.
Your background is in medical sciences, right? And a reason for that is because your family was into medical sciences. I think you mentioned that your father was a doctor, and you like the aspect of him being a doctor and respected and how much knowledge he had, right? Then you have your own kids, and when you had your own kids, you realize that this element of their education is lacking, which means you're focusing a lot on this element and understanding its importance. What causes somebody to shift their mindset from being in a medical background and a very heavily education focused background into thinking that, you know what, this is very important? What happened? What triggered that?
Yes, I also thought about it once. And I realized I've always seen my father reading newspaper since my childhood. Okay. And he's been such a knowledgeable person. Asking him question about anything would give me an answer. Okay. He would always have answers to things that I have to question about. And it was not just theoretical knowledge. He would actually call for Telegraph, Times of India, Hindi newspaper, Economic Times. 3, 4 newspapers used to come to our place, and he used to go through all of those. And mom used to always keep cribbing on him. दिन भर newspaper पढ़ते हो आप, दिन भर paper पढ़ते हो. And he would always keep calling my mom also. That, if my mom is, she would be serving dinner to my dad, and she would be standing there waiting and asking if you need more roti or more rice or more dal or whatever. He would say, just sit down and read an article of paper. I will keep all the food here. I'll take it. Don't waste your time in life in just asking me to have more food. You've made the food, keep it here. I'm going to take it, whatever number of rotis I want to take and stuff. So he's always been pushing mom, me, my brother, that read newspapers. Somewhere I think that got conditioned in my mind that it's a very vital thing. And when I realized that actually speaking about any topic, he had things to say about things which probably, otherwise he would have never encountered in life. But because he's been flipping through newspapers and reading different kinds of articles, he's always been updated about what's happening where. And that gave him an extra edge. And that's how he used to push us. I got into it, and I tried pushing my kids into it, and probably I couldn't because there were so many other deviations nowadays. They've got these video games and YouTubes and TV screens. Screen time was different at our times. So we didn't have a choice. We just had 1 or 2 hours of screen time and wait for the advertisement and watch our series that we are watching. And that's the only time, and one TV in the house where you have to share things. So now the children have more of their time. So I think that conditioning, that childhood conditioning of mine, that because my father has been so learned and so well informed about things, and I've always looked up to him, I started. I think I got conditioned that it is an important phase in life that you have to be aware. And I realized also, when you have knowledge about things, whether you be in any group, sitting with any kind of people, you will have topic for conversations. You'll not just be there sitting dumb and not being able to react to any talk. So that gives you an extra edge. Whether it be to for children, I think nowadays, see, education 99%, 98%. You must be seeing the scores of the boards and exams that children are getting nowadays. So they're doing wonderful. But that extra edge, I think, and being aware of the current affairs and having a nice IQ and logical reasoning and general knowledge would probably give them an extra edge in interviews and maybe taking better informed decisions in their life.
So I have seen this with my sister firsthand. So my sister was one of those who really enjoyed her studies. So she was super into it. And she was one of those students who would happily spend 8 hours, 10 hours a day studying out of her own volition. Nobody, like, she was one of those people who my mom had to often say that, you've done enough, now give it a rest. And this was always a thing when she was in school. My mom was always like, if there's a movie that's come out, if there's something that, that's socially relevant and things like that, she's like, I want her to be exposed to this, because she spends so much time in her room with her books that she's not getting this kind of education. She's getting her knowledge of her physics and chemistry and math and computers and all the subjects that she's studying, but that outside knowledge or that non-book knowledge is not getting there. So, I mean, I completely understand because I've seen it firsthand.
Right, right, right. I get it that you can relate to it. And that's how I actually got this thing. It was no being a founder planning or making money or maybe creating something new in the world. I don't know. There might be many more doing this. I'm not. I started looking for somebody who could teach current affairs and GK to my children. I really looked through Google and tried to find out if there are any classes happening on this. I couldn't get any. I thought of starting off myself. So let me start off for my children. So, and that's how it has just come till here, till now.
I want to talk about something very important that we just like skimmed over: the retention of children's, retention of their attention for your class, right? So they really want to attend your class and they really want to be like, oh, I did not want to miss this class. My sister and my brother, both of them have two boys. Okay. If they really wish to push their kids into reading, understanding, learning, and in India we call it kida, the insect of wanting to learn, the want to understand and the want to be better, what can I as a parent do in order for my child to be driven in that direction? Let's speak to the parents watching this. What do you do?
So, somewhere just asking them to do it or wanting too much from them, I think we should make it a part of our routine as a parent. Telling them something that they have read about in the newspaper, telling them, you know what, today I read that Russia has got a new president. Look at this man in this paper. It should not be like, read this article bit. Okay, you should read it. This will give you a lot of knowledge. Okay, instead of that, if we just share our own experiences, that wow, today I got to learn this, today I got to learn this, and we get very, very nice, tell me why, how did you know books nowadays? I mean, wow. Anyways, I've always loved encyclopedia. And I feel that knowledge is so vast out there. We basically learn differentiation, calculus, and chemistry formulas and stuff in life. But if you flip through an encyclopedia book, you get to see, wow, there's so many types of flowers in the world. And now probably there are these plants who actually eat insects. So there's so many interesting things which can actually just be a part of their conversations in life. From a real tender age, it really, I think it sparks anyways, children are curious by nature. If you land up on any 3-year-old, 4-year-old child, they'll ask, ये क्या है? ऐसा क्यों है? इस किसको बनाया? ये कैसे टूटता है? ये कैसे चलता है? Curiosity is there in them. But normally we mum them. We tell them, कुछ नहीं है तुम्हारे काम का नहीं बेटा. Leave it. You know? So they are always, they want to know. That's why they're loving our classes, I tell you. Because we just show them Eiffel Tower. It's like, Mom, why is it famous? Why is it so popular? It is not looking that great. Seeing an Eiffel Tower, they have a reaction. What is so nice about Eiffel Tower? It looks like an iron structure. It's just like a TV tower standing. So then when we show them the insides of it, how the restaurants look there, almost so many, so many LED bulbs on it and how well decorated it is. And they've got this double decker elevators there and whatever fancy things about that particular subject. So I think as a parent, of course, getting them subscribing a good newspaper or maybe getting good encyclopedia book, handing them over to them and ask them to flip it, it's good. There are many blessed parents who actually get children who are avid readers and they really want to read those books, and the parents don't even have to push it. So that's sheer luck, maybe. But otherwise, if your child is not into reading, I think this kind of learning can just be encouraged by actually sharing personal experience with children. I read this today. I read this today. Do you want to see the picture of today's cyclone which has come over here in this country? The child asks, what is cyclone? And they eventually learn about it and they want to read that thing. Instead of saying, read about this cyclone article, they wouldn't want. So I think it should just be a part of life. It has always been a part of life in my life also. My father has always been telling us things about our breakfast topic would be NASA sometimes, NASA is launching this and and stuff. So mama was never too much into. My mom has always been a very spiritual lady. A very spiritual lady. She would love to go to the temple, worship, cook, normal day-to-day chores, and she used to run a small boutique, and she would enjoy doing that. But dad has always been a very knowledgeable person and simple living and high thinking. But he always used to tell us that don't run after materialistic, and he's always given a lot of importance to knowledge and life. Like just try to learn new things every day. Probably it's going to help with some help. And I think every knowledge gained helps us somewhere in life.
I'm relating so much to what you're saying because I think for me also, as a kid, I always remember being super interested by or intrigued by Guinness World Record books. So we used to have like a bunch of these random Guinness World Record, this World Record, Sprite World Record, what random, like we had like 5 or 6 of these books. And I remember just flipping through them, maybe reading one page and seeing the pictures in 5 pages. But I remember that really like, being like, oh, what is this? Oh, what? And the other thing that came up was also, I think my parents were big crossword buffs. My dad loved to do the jumble and the crossword. So just sitting with him every morning and sitting and like doing the jumble in the newspaper. And that was only so much fun and just like learning, okay, yeah, this is this word. I didn't know this word. Why did I not know this word? What is this word? So what you're saying about curiosity, I like is just taking me back. And I think also curiosity and a willingness to read and learn is why we started this podcast in the first place. Akhil and I are very curious people by nature and we love to read all kinds of crap. As I said, Guinness World Record books, who has the longest nails and hasn't cut their nails in 15 years. And you saw those pictures of those curly, disgusting looking nails. And you were like, oh, I'm going to show this to my sister and like terrorize her.
All curled up nails, I remember, yes. So that's how and then these things are missing in school books. These are not there in the school curriculum. And I think they love it.
Amazing. I get some amazing questions on a day-to-day basis because 4 nephews, right? So yesterday I got the question, Chachu, what is time? And why do we care so much about it, right? Now, I am very willing to answer these questions with them or explore, right? And a lot of the times I don't know the answer. Then I make them sit with me and we Google and I show them how to Google, how to search, and I hand them my phone and I'm like, you search, you show me what you're going to search, how you're going to search. They enjoy that. My sister's son asked once, why is fire hot? Right? And he asked it to his mother, my sister, right? She didn't know. So her and her mother-in-law, they kind of shunned him off. They're like, fire is hot because fire is hot. Like, I don't know why fire is hot, right? Just accept it. So my question to you would be, let's say that there was somebody like me or like yourself who is willing to answer these questions or willing to explore, or there with somebody outside of this bubble of people willing to answer and they shun them off. How do you keep kids going? How do you tell them it is okay if someone does not answer your question? Do not stop pursuing it, pursue it elsewhere.
So, firstly, children are very smart nowadays. Okay, Google is like their colleague or batchmate or whatever you want to call. So they've been asking where have they left their socks. Also, they're gonna ask Google, where are my socks? So basically, for everything they land up there themselves. But suppose if a child is in a bubble where the others in their family are not answering to his curious questions, right? Your question is that how would I ask the child to be okay with it?
Not everyone's going to have the answer to their question, and not everyone's going to be open to answering and exploring their question. Because a lot of people, for a lot of people, not knowing or a child asking you a question which you do not know an answer to, somewhere will sort of play on your ego, and you're like, wait, and you're like, you know what, I don't want to answer this. Like, you want to sort of brush it under the carpet, as they say. So how do you, like, how would someone, like, how would you tell a child that it's okay? Not everyone's going to have the answer. Yeah, keep asking. Also, this culture of asking questions. I also think that another thing for me, at least, which as a kid, which I remember going through, was because we have so many kids in school, and because there's like 55, 60 people to a classroom. Very often, if you ask a question in the classroom, which is not maybe the most smartest question out there, you
You
are
hesitate.
ridiculed, you're made fun of. No,
Right.
whatever. Like if you don't talk properly or something, and especially in a boys' school, I remember seeing it a lot. So when I went abroad to Singapore, it took me like 6, 8 months, and my teachers were constantly like, listen, you're great, you're a good student, but you don't ask enough questions. Ask more, speak more. And here in India, we're always told, don't speak so much, stay quiet, things like that. So how do you inculcate this culture of asking questions?
The stubbornness, how do you make them stubborn about what they want in terms of knowledge? How do you do that?
Firstly, they're curious by nature only. Some parents might try and shush them by saying that, don't ask these questions to me. Probably the child finds a way out in asking some other people, Chachu or Kaku or Mama, and asking the same question to them. But there's some children who try and, just stop asking questions. They just kind of not getting answers from people. For parents, I would like to suggest, I would really like to, request them, if a child comes up with a question, they are really small. They're really thinking about things which probably we don't think we've used it. We've got so used to it in our lives that we hardly care about certain things. And they care about these little things in their environment which they want to know about. So either if a parent doesn't know, they can just try and explore the answer with them. Nowadays, we've got Google and all the other facilities. Now you've got the chat GPT also to answer in a child's language if you want. The GPT is going to tell you everything. I think the parents should actually encourage them. And suppose if I don't know this question, but the question is in the field of electronics. Okay, usually, I'll give you a simple example. My son opens the pen and he takes out the refill and the spring and says, Mama, why is this spring inside? Now, I have no idea why is that spring inside and how it works in the mechanics of it. But I can actually connect my son to the electrician who has come to my place. Okay, next Friday when the electrician comes, ask him this question. I think he'll give you a better answer, but I don't know about it. And giving them the right directions to connect to the right people for the right kind of questions. Suppose if a child comes and asks me about who's about Bollywood, maybe I'm not a Bollywood buff. I wouldn't know better answer, but I would just tell them that just go to this person and he loves movies. I'm sure he'll give a better answer for you. So I think we should redirect the children to the right people, and eventually they start getting a hang of whom to ask which kind of questions. And if you actually notice children, they love to be around those adults who are answering their questions. you would see there are 7 members in the family, but the child loves sitting with 2 people of out of all the adults because they answer them. So even if we don't have the answer, but we still encourage them by saying that, why don't you ask this person this answer, or why don't you ask this electrician this answer, this question? They're going to give you a much better answer, beta. So I think that will really help them build up on their curiosity and actually not feel. And regarding your school, Vishrut issue that you were saying that India, mein, you are not allowed to ask too many questions in the classroom. See, it is the population actually. So yeah, other countries, you've got 20 children in a class. Here, you've got 60 children. So eventually, there's one. Yeah. So the teacher and to children ratio is so much. We'll learn. So that's the only challenge I'm actually facing in my classes. Also, I've been working with a group strength of no matter what, not beyond 10 children in a batch. So I've got 10 children batches. So there are many parents who insist also that, let there be 11, let there be 12, let my kid join this batch. This timing is working for him. But then we can't give opportunity to the children to talk. So when there are more children, it becomes like a school classroom where we can hardly interact. So I think student ratio is a big challenge in our country, but the country is developing. We are doing better. We are having better schools and technology. So I hope things are going to get much better only.
100%, 100%. I think it is down to the teacher-student ratio, and I can't even blame the teachers. But I remember, okay, now I understand. Today I'm 27 years old, and I understand that. But as a 14-year-old kid, it used to bother me. Like I was like, I want to ask this question. Why can't I ask this? I remember once or twice I asked also, and I was made so much fun of in school, and I was like, oh my god, I can't be like, this is so irritating, and why are we doing this? And it there was something in me, and I think that was one of the reasons that I was very keen to go abroad and try to explore something completely different. Was this exact reason that I didn't get to maybe see a side of the world which I have never seen before and explore these things. But I hate the fact that it is the way it is, but unfortunately such are times, and hopefully things get better with time.
I think college was a good experience on this front. I feel like in college you are like surrounded by people who are like you, and then the diversity of thought process becomes a little more streamlined. So you're more comfortable asking questions, asking weird questions, and being the weird kind. That I feel college is the place you start belonging.
And you become less conscious of being judged, in a younger age, you're more conscious of being judged. What will the samne wala think about me?
I think that's also inherent within us because we tend to rub that off on, I think we tend to rub that off on our kids and our relatives and things because we as people are so conditioned that, oh, what will X person think or what will Y person think, that rubs off and it carries on. And even I've seen so many people in college that they take so much time to open up because they're so used to thinking of 500 things before acting, and they're like, oh, what will X, Y, Z person think, that it takes a lot of time. So many times, like this whole sort of barrier that we're creating, which sort of like closes us down and shuts us down because of, unfortunately, because of the way our country is, that there are times that you can break out of it, and there are certain people who do not end up breaking out of it. And I feel for those people who cannot break out of it.
So now you're at 250 students, right? And in the future, hopefully you have like many, 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 many more students which you would like to reach out to. I wish to understand your process of student selection, if there is any, and I wish to understand the process of hiring teachers, recruitment. How have you been building your team? What do you look for in teachers, and what do you look for specifically in students?
Right. So in students specifically, we're not looking for anything. Okay. Any child or any parent who really wants to join. And in fact, we don't even sell packages. So there are many other programs which actually they give you a trial session, then you have to buy a 3-month pack or a 6-month pack. So ours is basically a monthly thing. So there are 4 sessions in a month for a child. Once a week session, so you have 4 sessions in a month. So we ask them to let them do the first 4 sessions, then make the fee payment. next 4 sessions, then make the feedback. Whenever you think your child doesn't want to do, please don't push your child. It's okay. Not every child is being cut out to enjoy learning. Okay, probably that child is meant to be an artist. Probably that child is meant to be a sports person. So they need to have knowledge about everything in life. But so we normally ask the parents that just let them join, see how much they enjoy, whether it be 1 month, 2 month, 3 month, a year. And till now, we still have our first students with us. So thankfully, the children who've been doing, they've been loving. Of course, there has been a few who had to discontinue. Maybe the children wouldn't want to sit only, but it has been rare. But regarding choosing children, there's nothing to choose. Of course, the age bracket we don't take children under 5 years of age, and we don't take children beyond 14 years of age right now, because they come in the 10th standard and then they have too many things to prepare for the school. So it's going to be an add-on stress for them only. So 5 to 14 is our range. Regarding hiring teachers, it's still a learning process for me. In the beginning, I had just hired them on a salary basis, where I was just looking for a fluent English and a basic knowledge of the world geography and a very basic GK, because whatever they have to teach, they are trained before that. So regarding training the teacher is not a big deal, but we were looking for good presentable teachers who can really who have a command on their language, and they wouldn't sound foolish to children. But eventually with time I realized that we've been looking now for teachers who have a desire for teaching. So because spending 1 hour with 10 children, and where we want to answer to every question of them, so the teacher has to have that patience and not finish this. So now, the model is incentive basis. So number of children the teacher is catering to, they are paid accordingly. So the teacher also has a desire that I want to teach more children, and maybe the children who's doing with me should not get bored and leave the class. So they focus more on, making them happy and enjoy the class. And also, especially teachers who are really good with children, who enjoy being with children. Not a very strict teacher, not probably we won't have very knowledgeable people in our team, but because they are children, we don't discuss politics or communism or democracy or things which probably would be politically connected. But regarding the basic general knowledge and the basic current what's new happening suppose NASA is making a snake robot to send it to the moon of Saturn. So we basically train the teachers on everything around that news, that whatever questions can come. So that knowledge part is covered, but the desire for teaching and love for children is something which we are looking for.
And right now you're all online?
Totally, yes. And we're going to stay online only. Because so if I give you a book to read and maybe make you watch a movie on the screen, there's a big difference, right? So we actually show them the videos, we show them the clippings, we show them the pictures about things. Suppose we show them Bill Gates. Showing in the visual way is, I think, it's actually connecting better with children.
I think now more so than ever.
But if I give a questionnaire on the paper also of 100 questions to tick mark the correct answer, it would be a little more. That's covered in school.
It becomes school.
Yeah, here when they be where we have a jumble on the screen, they have to drag and drop, they have to click on the right answer. It is really fun and engaging, and I think that's why they love it.
Yeah, I was saying, so my nephew, when there was school online in Canada, they were given out Chromebooks. So each one got their own like small Chromebook, and they were supposed to do classes on that. Whenever the class was going on, he would put the class to one side, and then there would be like a flash game playing on the other side. And then the class is just happening and he's focused on the game. How do you keep them engaged on online learning?
How do I see? School is a different thing. School, they have to give hours in a day, right? And a school, I still feel the traditional way of teaching is far better. The blackboard or the whiteboard and the children with their books would be better. Regarding me, it's just an hour's class and time just flies. We hardly have to keep them engaged. There's so many new things to show them. Like last week, we were showing them the snake robot, which NASA is building up, and we showed them the clipping of the robot functioning. And it's so interesting that the time just flies. So they're engaged, learning new things, asking rubbish questions. Damn, why are they making a snake? Why not a tortoise? So the questions would be something probably wouldn't have answered for everything, but then we laugh a lot and we enjoy everybody's question and we encourage everyone to ask a question. Suppose one child in a class is hasn't hadn't has not asked any question in the past 10 minutes, so we poke them, kya hua, what happened? There's nothing in your mind going on, you have no queries about it, so we poke them to ask and it becomes so interesting. So keeping them engaged is not a trouble, but being happy with them and enjoying learning with them or teaching them and making them learn, not like teaching them in a traditional way. I think it's the best time of my day also, now because I've delegated most of the batches to the teachers. I really miss sometimes, I mean, sometimes I have to take the laptop from my teachers. Like today I'm going to take a session, I really want to feel happy. So, and you feel so happy around kids. I mean, I think that's the best place to be. They're so innocent and they have so many questions in their mind, and such honest questions come up sometimes.
Your passion really comes through. Even via like the source of video, your passion just like emerges out of you for kids, right? And I love the energy. I also want to ask you that now that you're team building and now that you have these classes going on, what is the teacher supposed to teach? Is there a curriculum? Is there only one topic for a class? What would a class look like? I start today, let's say this snake building class. Was it only about snake building? What happens?
Every week, like in every session, we cover the top roughly three to four max news of the world. Okay. So that news takes around 30 minutes of our session. Okay. So in 30 minutes, we cover top 3 to 4 news in a nice, elaborate, and fun way. Not too much of gyan also, but the right amount of gyan they can take from that knowledge they can take out from that news. So suppose we speak about NASA's snake robot this week. So we show them the robot. We tell them why they are building it. We tell them where are they going to send it. Then we talk about where is NASA, who are these NASA people, and in which country it is. Now we've come to the country, we talk about the flag of the country and the location of the country in the world map. So it's not just the snake robot that they're learning, but they're also learning other GK stuff from that same headline, that same news.
They have something to connect it to. They have like a point of reference.
So they can imagine it actually. When we show them Washington DC in the world map, they see where USA is, they get to know where North America is, they get to know where NASA actually is. And then we show them the logo of the NASA. We show a picture of the NASA headquarters. Then we show them the robot that they're making. Then we show them where they're sending it, so that we show that moon of Saturn where they're planning to send it. So eventually they gain a lot of GK out of that. And plus they are updated what's happening in the world now. Probably there are many people around who wouldn't be knowing that there's so many countries already testing flying cars. So flying taxis, flying cars. So otherwise they are, if you are not updated on current affairs, you will not get to know, acha, aisa bhi hota hai kya, flying car. Their children was sitting and saying, kab kash gaadi ud ke ja sakte. In the traffic, they keep saying, na, ki, I wish we could fly off. But actually people are building it. We show them the pictures. See, Israel is just testing this flying taxi. Or, China has made this 2 people ka flying car recently and they're testing it. So we cover the news, and for the next 20 minutes, after first 30 minutes is news, and for the next 20 minutes, we cover any GK topic. So today it can be all the famous sports personalities, or it could be famous different flowers of the world, or it could be famous monuments, currencies of different worlds, or maybe languages of different worlds, how they say hello in this different languages. So one GK topic we cover in next 20 minutes. And at the end, last 10 minutes, we do a live quiz contest so basically the whole idea, the children, they really listen attentively because they want to win in the game at the end. So we tell them in the beginning that they're going to be, and they know it. We don't have to tell them. Now that we start the class and they said, ma'am, quiz kab hoga? Like, first listen, no, how would you answer in the quiz? And so they listen so deliberately and they, basically focus, I have to win in the game today. So game and winning is something you cannot, even if you're playing a simple game like Ludo, you feel like winning, right? So the quiz game, we don't call it a test, we call it a game. So the quiz game is the thrill part of the class for which they actually listen the whole class very attentively and they try to win in the end. So basically we cover the news and a bit of GK or encyclopedia knowledge along with the quiz every session. That's it. Not too much.
We humans are so hypocritical. On one side, there's like an entire section of us is like, don't do exams, don't do standardized testing, don't do this, don't do that. And yet, all of us have this competitive streak in us that you give us a game and they're like, we have to win. We have to win.
Yes.
This is there's that thrill, but I think, I don't know, maybe it's the word, maybe it's the way we've been conditioned, but this word exam and this sitting and writing and checking off questions in an exam just leads to so much stress and tension. And whereas you change the exam word and you remove the exam feeling and you make it a quiz game, suddenly you will see everyone wants to do this and they want to do it not twice a year, but like 5 times a year.
Right. And sometimes it gets really sad also when the children really want to win and now they're children. So, of course, everybody cannot win the quiz. So, and then they feel so disheartened and they're like, Mom, and stuff like that. Then we have to encourage them also. Don't worry, next time it's always there. We do it every week. So, they look forward to the next week that next week mujhe jeetna hai. So, we keep encouraging them and not every children is smart enough to retain everything that they're learning. So sometimes there are children who are in school also. You have got the backbenchers and the low scorers and the high scorers. So here also we have, but we encourage the low scorers also. It's like whatever you remember, that is also good enough. So it's not hard physics here or something that is going to be really challenging in life for them. But I think slowly, whatever knowledge they're gaining and piling up down the line, if they keep doing this for a year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, imagine the level of content they've seen just with a 1 hour of fun time with us. I think it's a replacement of TV ka other shows where you can actually make your child not. There are many parents who say we don't want to do online class, we don't want to give screen time to the child. So anyways, your child is going to watch TV. So screen time would be there as a part of their life. So why not use a healthy hour of screen time? So this hour would be actually giving them knowledge.
100%. I think screen time is now a part of our lives and we have to just accept it. Like this whole thing of, getting away, we have to find ways to make our screen time productive. But at the end of the day, screen time is screen time. It's going to be there.
Food detox has equal value as screen detox now. Staying hungry is also difficult and staying without a screen is also very difficult for anybody. And now thanks to those Instagram reels out, the threads has also come out. Twitter is this, I don't know if you're aware, why my students are aware that Meta has launched this threads, which is kind of a better version of Twitter. So now...
I don't know if it's better.
Better.
I don't know if it's better.
I think it is. I mean... the word limit and the video limit and everything is much more than Twitter. Otherwise, everything is the same. So suppose if you want to write a big article on Twitter, probably you'll have to keep writing multiple tweets just to end up in one. And here it can be just done simply. Now, maybe, whatever. It has just come up and there's a big case going on.
Yeah. There's a whole, there's been a major, what do I say? So what's a good way to put this? There's been a...
Battle royale between Musk.
Yeah, I think there's been a full on Royal Rumble going on
Royal
the internet.
Rumble, yeah.
Right. So now my kids, my students, They know who's Elon Musk. They know what companies he on. They know who's Mark Zuckerberg. They know what they're launching and stuff. But we don't discuss these fights between them or the wars between them. We tell them that he's bought this, he's bought that. We don't want to feed them with ideas that this person is good or this is bad. So whether it be Mahatma Gandhi also, if you're talking about, we tell them what we know about him. We don't say he's an excellent person and he did and this and that, or we don't want to build notions in their head, but we just want them to be aware of what's happening.
So Shruti, let's say I watch this episode and I'm a parent and I am now inspired by your story. I have two questions about this. One, how do I get to Learnistry? And how do I actually make my kid a student of yours and a part of your establishment? Second, let's say I am capable of dealing with kids and I am capable of teaching them and I am very passionate like you are. What does it take for me to open my own Learnistry? How much money does it take? What kind of knowledge does it take? And what platforms can I use in order to build?
Okay. So firstly, for enrolling your child at Learnistry, currently we don't have a website. We've got this Instagram page on Learnistry, Instagram and Facebook page, and there's my personal contact number and our office number, where they can just drop a WhatsApp and we will get back with all the details.
We will have all of that in the description below, so please check that out if you are considering Learnistry.
Right. So you can call anytime, leave a WhatsApp or call on this number, and you will be able to get in touch with us. We'll schedule a trial session for your child. Suppose after one trial session, also, if you feel you're not very sure you want to put your child, we give you another trial session. Only if you make up your mind, then we tell you to enroll. And then your child can start off learning. And it is again going to be a session-wise thing. So it is not like we're going to sell you a package or trap you. So apart from this, if you as a parent, you want to open a Learnistry, another Learnistry version, wow, it's going to be an amazing thing to do. If you have the capabilities and if you have the desire to do it, it's not a big deal actually. So what things you're going to need is just some connects, maybe with parents who have young children, and you can ask them the way I started. Ask them that, I would like to keep your children updated once a week with a very nominal charge. You can start off with doing that. And whatever you want to teach them, try and explore the best way, make lovely presentations for them, keep it exciting and lovely for them, and so that they love learning with you. And once you love learning, and eventually you're going to get thousands of more children. So I would really love to encourage as many other Learnistries to happen, because there's so many children in India. I mean, right now I'm just talking about India, though we've got kids from other places also, but India itself, there's so many children. So I think parallelly 30, 40 Learnistries can survive very easily with hundreds and hundreds of children. So I anyways, also there are moms. Even now we've got moms of children who are teaching, who children are learning from us, and the moms, they want to teach it further. We encourage them, said do it. They ask for a franchisee. We said, no, you start your own thing. Move on, build up your own thing. I'm sure they'll be more creative and more better, and something better is going to come out. So we don't take anybody as competitors, actually. I personally feel that, everybody, I think anybody else who would do something like Learnistry might just do much better than us. So it's fine.
Are you profitable?
Oh, yes. So, how to tell you? I mean, how to tell you about being profitable? It was since day one. So the investment was basically just the mind. So I had my laptop at home up till 100 children. So I did not have to pay anywhere. Right. So we are very well profitable.
How many vacancies do you have? You say you do 10 students per session, per batch. So what is the kind of, how full up are you right now? How many children are you available to?
We need 3 more teachers currently. So we need 3 more. But otherwise, see, even though we have teachers, taking back-to-back sessions cannot be very comfortable. And as human, you get tired, you need a break time. After speaking for an hour, you need to drink some tea, have a small walk. So, and my team is like my family now. So the work hours are also flexible. So there's one teacher who comes in the evening. She said, I want to come in the evening, 3 to 7. One who wants to come late evening after 6. So she comes from 6 to 9. There's one who wants to come in the morning. She comes from 11 to 2. So they're all having their own time flexibility. So I am okay with that. I think I tell them also. They usually ask what time you want, what salary you're going to give. And we tell them that you tell me what time you want to come and what salary you want. But will you teach? And they end up really nicely. And that's what we are looking for, some more teachers currently. I hope we get enthusiastic teachers who are actually keen on teaching. We don't want the morning 9 to 5 wala job or morning 8 to night 8 o'clock wala job. We want you to enjoy. And of course, if you want to give more hours, you can. But otherwise, we are open to flexible hours.
Where are we in 5 years from now? Where is Learnistry?
5 years. Okay. So my mission currently is for 10,000 children in the next 3 years. And have not planned up to, about where I'm going to be after 5 years. But 3 years we want to reach. I want to reach out to at least 10,000 children.
How do you do that?
How would I do that? I cannot do it alone. I could do nothing alone. 100 was my limit. So I want a lovely family. I want a lovely team. And I am blessed to have lovely people with me already. And I'm going to have more lovely people, and we're going to have lovely classes ahead. So it's all going to be on building up on the team. And then it's a piece of cake, actually.
Are you the one who develops the content for each week?
Oh, initially it was just me, and then started taking a lot of toll from me because handling all the queries. In fact, if suppose your child is doing our class and the child has to go to a birthday party today and he'll be missing, so we give them the recording of the whole session. We also give them makeup options. That suppose today your child is not attending, this week these 3 batches are also doing the same topic. So you can make him do in any of those. So basically getting 100 queries every day. Today my child is sick, or today we are traveling, or today the internet is not working, we want another class, and managing the class content also alone. So now I've got like 2 people working on the research and development who filter through me the content. But otherwise, I've got lovely Ashita and Rebecca, that them, and they are wonderful in creating these presentations for the children. I think much better.
So Shruti, I think both Vishruth and I think that you are doing some absolutely amazing work. It is essential, and child development is right now a big topic of discussion and is going to continue to be a big topic of discussion, I think, till the end of time. And even if you can make a small dent in it, it is going to be huge for the future of the country, the nation, the world, whatever you want to put there in the blank space. So we wish you all the luck for the future. We have this tradition for our channel where each founder, like a chain, leaves a question for the next one. So we have a question here for you, and then we would ask you for a question that you would be asking the next founder without knowing who they are. Okay. So the question I have for you is, how do you ensure that you get enough time to rethink, rejig, revitalize your thoughts for things other than the business?
Right. So I think I ensure on these by having my me time. So there are times, especially, in fact, every week I have a day off, hours off, the first half of the day up till 3 or 4 o'clock in the evening, where I just don't think about my work. It is just, I just close it. I just close it. No questions asked, no WhatsApp text, nothing. And I think that's my me time, where I just flip through a book, I read a book, I just go for a nice dance class, or maybe, just watch a movie and just be alone myself. I think I like it. Though one thing which I really want to develop is, I think gardening would really give a boost to it, but I'm not got into it yet. It's in one of my future desires to get into gardening.